Welcome, dear viewers, to a deep dive into the heart of Europe, a journey from Slovakia to Zlofakia, a dive into the corruption abyss. As the title dramatically unfurls against the backdrop of a picturesque Slovakian landscape, a sense of foreboding creeps in. An epic orchestral score swells, the tension is palpable. The camera pans across the beautiful Bratislava castle, an iconic symbol of the nation's rich history. But beneath this beauty lies a tale of intrigue, power, and corruption. Our journey today takes us deep into the political labyrinth of Slovakia, a country grappling with an age-old demon, a nation's fight, a people's struggle. Corruption is the foe they face. The tranquil scenery fades, replaced by a montage of newspaper headlines, protest footage, and political rallies. The music crescendos, the images flicker faster, and the title Slovakia to Zlofakia, a dive into the corruption abyss, finally dissolves into the darkness. A moment of silence, then a single line appears. How much do you know about the fight against corruption in Slovakia? The question hangs in the air, an invitation for you, the viewer, to join us on this journey. Let's delve into the heart of Slovakia's fight against corruption, the steps forward and the steps back. Welcome to the abyss. Slovakia to Zlofakia, a dive into the corruption abyss. How much do you know about the fight against corruption in Slovakia? Let's take a journey into the heart of Europe, where Slovakia, a seemingly peaceful nation, grapples with an age-old demon, corruption. The battle against this endemic issue has seen numerous turns, but recent developments suggest a detour off the path of progress. The return of Robert Fico as Prime Minister and the dominance of his party, Direction, Social Democracy, have raised eyebrows both at home and abroad. Why, you ask? Well, it is the controversial moves to dismantle established anti-corruption measures that have set alarm bells ringing. These actions have not been taken lightly. They have stirred up a storm of concern, not just within the country, but also on the global stage. Under Fico's leadership, the government decided to scrap a special prosecutor's office focused on combating corruption. This decision, criticized by President Zuzana Kaputova as a step backwards, has sparked fears of undermining the rule of law. The Special Prosecution Unit, which has been operational since 2004, has been instrumental in handling high-profile corruption cases, including graft within the police, judiciary, and politics since 2021. The European Commission and the European Public Prosecutor's Office have expressed deep concerns over these legislative changes. They stress the potential erosion of democratic stability and the rule of law in Slovakia, further complicating the country's journey. The actions of Fico's government, including the reduction of sentences for certain financial crimes, are seen by many as an attempt to consolidate power and protect a vast network of corruption. The backlash has been significant, with opposition parties, civil society, and international bodies criticizing these actions as a direct attack on the mechanisms established to fight corruption and uphold the rule of law in Slovakia. Indeed, these actions have sparked significant alarm and indicate a pivot towards protecting a network of corruption. Did you know that the Slovak government agreed to scrap a special prosecutor's office focused on combating corruption? This decision, made under the leadership of the returned Prime Minister Robert Fico, has raised more than a few eyebrows both domestically and internationally. This special prosecution unit, led by Daniel Lipsik, a noteworthy figure in the fight against corruption, has been operational since 2004. It played a pivotal role in handling high-profile corruption cases, shedding light on graft within the police, judiciary, and politics since 2021. With the dismantling of this essential office, Slovakia appears to be taking a step backwards in its battle against corruption. The decision has drawn sharp criticism from several quarters, including President Zuzana Kaputova, who labeled it as a step backwards. The importance of this office wasn't lost on international observers either. The European Commission and the European Public Prosecutor's Office have expressed deep concerns over these legislative changes. They stress the potential erosion of democratic stability and the rule of law in Slovakia, echoing the sentiments of many within the country. The scrapping of the Special Prosecution Unit isn't just a matter of administrative reshuffling. It's a symbol of the larger issue at hand, the apparent regression in Slovakia's fight against corruption. This move has been viewed as a pivot towards protecting and potentially expanding a network of corruption rather than dismantling it. The potential erosion of democratic stability and the rule of law in Slovakia is a major concern for many. This reversal in anti-corruption efforts under the guise of legal reforms put Slovakia at a critical juncture, threatening not only the democratic fabric of the nation, but also its standing within the European Union and the international community at large. What do the people of Slovakia think about corruption in their country? As we delve into the heart of the matter, we find a populace deeply concerned. Transparency International, along with other observers, has shed light on the public's perception of the situation. A significant proportion of Slovakians view their parliament members, judges, and national officials as steeped in corruption. This perception isn't confined to just a few isolated individuals or sectors. It's a concern that permeates the entire fabric of society, touching upon every level of governance and public service. The data paints a vivid picture of the extent of the issue. It's not just a matter of a few bad apples, but a systemic problem that has infiltrated the core of Slovakian society. The sentiment is clear. The people of Slovakia are yearning for change, for transparency, and for justice. They demand accountability from their leaders and institutions, a call to action that cannot be ignored. The public's perception of corruption remains high, a clear indicator of the challenges ahead. Can legal reforms be a guise for protecting corrupt practices? This question is not rhetorical, it's the reality Slovakia is grappling with today. Let's dive a bit deeper. The Slovak government, under the leadership of Robert Fico, has proposed a series of legislative changes that have raised eyebrows among observers. One such proposal is the reduction of sentences for certain financial crimes. To some, this might seem like a move towards leniency, but for others, it's a sign of something far more sinister. The changes are perceived by many as an attempt to consolidate power and protect a vast network of corruption. Fico's government is not just rewriting the rulebook, it's reshuffling the deck, and critics argue that it's the corrupt who stand to benefit. This move has not gone unnoticed. Opposition parties, civil society, and international bodies have all raised their voices against these changes. They view these actions as a direct attack on the mechanisms established to fight corruption. But it's not just about corruption, it's about the rule of law, the very foundation upon which democratic societies are built. These legislative changes are seen as an assault on the rule of law, and this has sparked significant backlash. Critics have not held back, expressing their concerns loud and clear. They fear that these changes are undermining the democratic fabric of the nation, threatening its stability and its standing within the international community. But it's not just about Slovakia's international reputation. At stake is the trust of the Slovak people in their government and institutions. With public perception of corruption remaining high, these changes risk further eroding the public's confidence in their leaders and the systems that are supposed to serve them. Slovakia stands at a critical juncture. The government's current trajectory suggests a departure from earlier attempts to address corruption, risking its democratic fabric and standing within the EU and the international community. With these proposed changes, Slovakia is not just walking a dangerous path, it's setting a worrying precedent, and the world is watching. So, where does Slovakia stand in its fight against corruption? Recent developments point towards a worrying regression. Despite earlier strides, a return to power by Robert Fico and his party has seen controversial actions that could potentially expand a network of corruption. Moves such as dismantling anti-corruption measures and reducing sentences for certain financial crimes have sparked significant backlash. The current trajectory risks Slovakia's democratic stability and its standing within the international community. The fight against corruption is a long and winding road, and for Slovakia, the journey continues. Who is Robert Kaliňák, and what role does he play in Slovakia's political landscape? Robert Kaliňák is a prominent figure in Slovak politics and a close ally of Robert Fico. His political career has been marked by controversy with allegations of corruption never far behind. From the Basternak case to the gorilla scandal, Kaliňák's name has been linked to some of the biggest corruption scandals in Slovakia's recent history. His influence on the current political climate is undeniably significant, shaping the trajectory of Slovakia's fight against corruption. Public opinion on Kaliňák is divided. Some see him as a necessary evil in a complex political landscape, while others view him as a symbol of the corruption Slovakia is struggling to eradicate. His decisions have had far-reaching implications, affecting not only Slovakia's political stability, but also its international reputation. Robert Kaliňák's role in Slovakia's political landscape is a contentious one, and the impact of his actions continues to unfold. For Slovakia, the fight against corruption is not just about legal battles and policy changes, it's also about the individuals who wield power and influence.